that were buying fuel at 189 naira some 27 days ago, and we're buying it up till yesterday for 500, and it's now 515, and we go to 700. Let President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the APC know that things are not easy with Nigerians, and Nigerians may be called out, and Nigerians will go out when they are called out, because when they are pushed to the limit, and you are talking of how many people are now captured in that web of poverty by the multidimensional analysis, then you are talking of many more people being caught in the web. They will go out. But talking of the tribunals, I knew right from the beginning that we'll be working from the answer back to the question. And so I am not surprised. That's why I talked of the tribunals being peopled by Nigerians, the judiciary, the INEC. So INEC has arrived at a situation, and the same INEC will do everything possible to frustrate those countering whatever they have done. They don't want to go back to do any work, except the only exciting thing about going back to do such a work is that they are going to get another huge vote to be able to tinker around with money and all that. Let's be realistic about the situation of things. So what Labour Party should do now is that they should also see how smart they can be about whatever they are putting forward. But it is already assumed by most Nigerians and most keen watchers that that Yoruba proverb, that the cane that you put on your ceiling to drive out the first wife, still on the ceiling now will drive out the second wife. So the same way PDP has been frustrated, that's the same way Labour Party is going to be frustrated. We may have no choice than to just accept whatever the situation may be right now. But President Bola Ahmed Tinubu should recognize that out of a voting population that actually came out to vote of less than 30 million, close to 30 million, I'm not sure of the exact figure, I'm just trying to do the calculations now, that if one got 8 and each of the other got 6 million each, and so you got just 1/5 of those votes, it will be very easy to call out the 4/5 of the other people if you do not do things that will make life easy for the people. That's where I disagree with Ayologun.
All right. I'd like to thank Comrade Ayologun Moseseli for taking time out this very cool Wednesday morning. I hope it's cool. Abuja is always cool. No doubt about that.
No, and you need to see that the particular hotel room that Ayo is in is not the kind that poor people stay in. Can't you see? You can see the broad smile. You see me frowning, you see him smiling. You can see you know where we are.
All right, there.
I understand that trying to put me on the spot.
Thank you, most sincerely, Comrade Ayologun. Enjoy the rest of your day and have a blessed working stop in Abuja. Thank you so much for joining me.
For having me.
All right, let's come back to home now. We're here live with Architect GOKE OMIGBODUN. We all heard, and it's no more news, that we have new servicemen at the helm of affairs at the various paramilitary, military formations in Nigeria. Then we have a new chief of army staff. We have for the defense. We have an acting inspector general of police. We tried looking at this yesterday as well, but I want to continue to analyze this with you and give us a clearer insight as from your wealth of knowledge. Yesterday, we had that, day before yesterday, beg your pardon, that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu Monday appointed, I want to start with him, General Taoreed Abiodun Lagbaja as the Chief of Army Staff. Now, let me bring you up to speed about who this young man is. He replaces, Major General Lagbaja replaces Lieutenant General Farouk Yahaya, who was appointed by former President Muhammadu Buhari in 2021. Now, the new man at the helm of affairs, Major General Lagbaja, was born in Ilobu. That's one of the things that people are so excited about, that Osun State is getting somebody at the top echelon there. Precisely, Irekpodun local government area, Osun State, on the 28th of February 1968. He's so lucky.
1968?
1968, I think. So not to 29, whereby he probably will be celebrated every 4 years. He attended Local Authority Teachers College Demonstration School, Oshogbo, between 73 and 79. He also attended St. Charles Grammar School, Oshogbo, from 79 to 84. He attended the Polytechnic Ibadan from 84 to 86 and obtained West African School Certificate Advanced Level. He was admitted into the Nigerian Defense Academy on 12th September 1987 as a member of the 39th Regular Course. He was commissioned on 21st. He was commissioned as Second Lieutenant on 19th September 1992 into the Nigerian Army Infantry Corps. He's got quite a whole lot. He's done so well for himself when it comes to what he has been able to attain. But let's look at this young man.
You still keep calling him young man. That's why I laid emphasis on 1968. When Alani Akinrade was Chief of Army Staff, he was probably 40.
Yes, he was.
And so
at 68 is about...
whose official age is of one born in 1958. That will put him at 50-something, close to 60. He's an experienced good man. Don't call him young man.
Experienced good man. Yes. Okay. Experienced.
And we need such people. So
what do you make of his appointment?
I think it's a good one. I honestly don't know him in person.
Okay.
I've not actually even had the opportunity of reading much about him. But I read a few things about his exploits in tackling what you call banditry, and also in certain external assignments outside Nigeria. So I'm already proud of him that he's somebody from Oshun here who has done such great exploits, and now he's moving up to become the second ever person from Southwest Nigeria, and by coincidence again from Oshun, who is becoming Chief of Army Staff. So
I think the last time we had was about 43 years ago.
Yes, that's Alani Akinrade, whom I said probably was just about 40 when he was Chief of Army Staff. So with just like most things that I've said about decisions of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, let us look out with cautious optimism and see the sincerity of purpose that all of these people, is not just about that Chief of Army Staff, all of them, that they will bring to the table in their assignments and in their tasks. And that of the Chief of Army Staff, I'm trying to restrict myself to whatever question you ask me, because I hope you are still going to ask me about the others.
Oh, definitely. We'll look into others.
The Chief of Army Staff is the territorial integrity of this country.
Yes.
That he, along with the other chiefs of staffs of the military and the Joint Chief of Staff or Chief of Defense Staff in our own case in the country, will be doing something about. And I think ever since the Civil War, now is the worst situation that we have had of a challenge or a threat to the territorial integrity of Nigeria, because we still have those ISWAP people. I'm not sure they have lowered their flag in Niger states and in pockets of Nigeria. Yes. No matter the propaganda that the government may bring to make you pretend that as if things are okay, people are still paying tribute to other authorities than the states. When I say states now, the 36 states, and then the states of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, because we still see video clips of people being caned or even killed because they are not able to pay tribute to authorities that are not recognized by the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So our territorial integrity now is suffering the greatest setback after the Civil War. And so that's a challenge for General Lagbaja and the rest of the army and other chiefs of staff. For me, it's not about where he is coming from. Yes. I have given kudos to what I've read about him. Is not what I actually know. But let's look more into the future, because that's what is more important for us right now.
Looking at what this appointment of the Chief of Army Staff, I want you to just reel out some of the operations in which he has participated. Maybe that's why.
I told you I don't know that.
Yes,
you want to reel them out.
I'm going to,
then
I'll reel them out. Whereby probably these were things Mr. President saw and what he needs to do. He was part of the Operation Harmony 4 in Bakassi Peninsula between January 1996 to June 2000. He was also at the United Nations mission in the Democratic Republic of Congo between 2004 and 2005. Operation Zaki between September 2012 and April 2013 and July 2014 to December June 2015. He was part of the internal security operation in Benue State. When Benue State, we know what the I'm trying to get this
the territorial integrity that we said is being challenged consistently.
Honestly, so looking at his operations in and around Nigeria and what he has been able to achieve for himself in the course of being in the military, where should he kick off to curtail the excesses of banditry? Let me just put it, insecurity in the country.
He is supposed to have intelligence information at his disposal. He's supposed to have acquired some experiences on the field himself.
Yes.
Going by those things that we have read about him, honestly, he would know best. So where he should kick off from the perspective of somebody like me that would not know a tenth of what he knows is that he should go there with sincerity of purpose. If he goes with sincerity of purpose, I am sure he would know where the shoes are pinching the most in the entirety of the Federal Republic of Nigeria right now concerning banditry and concerning the challenges to territorial integrity. So that's all I'm going to say. They should go there with sincerity of purpose. I'm not going to say, oh, start from Benue, start from Niger. Those are things that we get to hear.
Yes.
Who told me that the hottest bed is actually not hiding somewhere in Ilobu, his hometown? The fact that I'm in Oshun does not even mean that I know, because we are talking of preemptive strikes.
Yes, please.
Okay? So they should prevent things that could happen and could be more dangerous than those that are already happening, but make sure that even those that are already happening are curtailed. So let him go back to his information desk, let him go back to his information analysis and bring a sense of honesty of purpose to bear in the discharge of his duties.
Okay, we wish him the very best as well. Yeah. I want to look at the new acting inspector general of police, Kayode Egbetokun, who is replacing Usman Baba. Now, he was appointed also. Usman Baba was appointed by former President Muhammadu Buhari. Now, he replaces Usman Baba. All right. He was born on the 4th of September 1964 from the Egbado South local government area of Ogun State. Egbetokun enlisted into the Nigeria Police Force as a cadet ASP Course 16 on March 3rd, 1990. He possesses quite a whole lot, BSc in Education Honors, Mathematics, University of Lagos. Now, I want to look at some of the things he's been able to do for himself. He has worked in various commands, formations, and departments of the police, including Chief Security Officer to Governor of Lagos State from 1999 to 2005. That's the present president. He was his CSO. And among so many other things he has been able to do. We look at what is happening internally. When we look at, when we talk about security, internally, the police are the first set of people, Nigerians who run to. The armies are more of probably if there are external aggressions and whatever. But the police right now, they seem to have, I don't want to use tainted, but because we still have very good set of servicemen amongst the Nigerian police force today. But wherever you have some good sets, you obviously have the other set as well. But what reform should the IGP try as much as possible to put in place to put our police force on that pedestal of being standard?
Well, let me tell you straight away that the IGP has a limited scope of what he can do concerning reforms, because his is just for policies. We have the laws governing the security situation, and he's still Inspector General of a police force covering the entirety of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, which is an aberration, because where we copied our own style of governance from the United States of America, every state has its own police formation and has its own police chief. You only have the Federal Bureau of Investigation, which is like an equivalent of the Interpol. When you're talking of the Committee of Nations, just interact with state police formations and coordinates certain things that may have to do with the challenges to security situations in the entire United States of America. But let's come to IGP Kayode Egbetokun. I am praying for him that he should not just be acting. I know he will be made substantive. Out of those things that they have said about him, perhaps they didn't remember to mention that he had a stint in Osun as the Commissioner of Police here. And I had the opportunity of some very brief interactions with him then. So perhaps in all of them, he's the only one I can say I've ever had any interaction with before. And honestly, I personally believe he's one of the best police officers I've ever come across.
Wow.
Dispassionate about his approach to issues, committed to making the, and with what I saw of him in Osun, if what Kayode Egbetokun did in Osun as police commissioner is what he's going to do in the entirety of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the only thing that can limit him would be what amount of cooperation that he gets from his commissioners of police and other people working around him, and the fact that he'll be dealing with a much bigger entity now than the one he's dealing with right now. So I will still try to answer your question about what reforms.
Yes, sir.
That, and from what I also heard him say on television last night, about his determined to go out like a tiger and like a lion, I laughed excitedly when I saw that, because I know that was even what he did when he was in Osun here. I can't remember for what period of time, but I know this was about 10 years ago, and yes, he was a much younger person then, because the man I saw on telly last night is a little older than the Kayode Egbetokun that I knew at that time. But I know that he still has that determination. So he should recognize that he has a police force of less than 500,000 men. I know there are about 400,000, but let me just assume that perhaps they employed a little more, and I'm not aware of that. And you have a citizenry of over 200 million. I don't know whether we're up to that. These are things that we should, as an aside, we should eventually deal with all these statistics so that we know exactly how many people we have in each state, how many people we have in Nigeria, how many people we have in the police, in the different agencies of governance. If Kayode Egbetokun can do that for himself at least, see how he can get adequate information. When you asked me about the Chief of Army Staff, what I also spoke about is intelligence getting to his desk. So I think IGP Kayode Egbetokun, I'm not making a mistake. I know they are still calling him acting. I'm praying he becomes IGP. Would actually the kind of thing that he did in Osun, making sure that dispassionately he would attend to affairs. He would make sure that he does something to reduce the corruption that we have in the police force. Like I always said, there will always be bad eggs everywhere.
Yes, please.
And there would also always be good ones. I think we've been lucky in Osun. In and out, we've had good and bad commissioners of police. We're talking about Kayode Egbetokun. There's nowhere we'll be talking of good police officers that I will not mention the name of Fimihon Adeoye, who was also a police commissioner here. It will shock you. I have never sat down one-on-one with him like this before.
Wow.
But I've had interactions with him on the telephone on issues of security, and he also did very well. Perhaps if retired police officers, I think the two of them were even AIGs together about the same. I'm not sure. Maybe Fimihon Adeoye was a senior. He needs to look. Kayode Egbetokun has to look at who are those people with whom we have served before, and they were good, and perhaps they are retired right now, that can assist with sincerity of purpose and intelligence related to information that it can bring to bear. Because you have so many bad eggs does not mean the entirety of the Nigerian police is bad.
Absolutely.
So I have no doubt that IGP Kayode Egbetokun is likely to know those who have been good within the system. Bring them back together and see what you can do to inspire those that are there right now, so that they know that those that are good can never completely be relegated. I think if there's anything he should do, it should be that.
Architect OMIGBODUN, I'm still wanting us to talk a little bit of the police, because we seem to interact with them more compared to the naval officers, the army, and what have you.
See, now that I said I've never met any of those military people.
No, you
are including my, in quotes, cousin from Ilobu here now.
Looking at the police force, because I feel I have the sympathy for them. If we go to their barracks now, you see that it's in shambles. How possible can the Inspector General of Police use a couple of things like this to boost the morale of the Nigerian police men and women serving this great nation? It
depends on how much resources are put at his disposal. Nigeria itself is in near shambles. It's not only the police that are living in poverty. Virtually all of us are living in poverty. There is corruption everywhere. The immediate past government, of which Bola Ahmed Tinubu was also a leader of the party, in fact, they called him the leader of the party, has led us far down the abyss. So we need to get out of that abyss right now. And I don't want us to take all these things in isolation, okay? What I would really love to discuss about the police is far beyond an Inspector General of Police. What I would like to discuss about the police is more in the hands of the National Assembly and the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And of course, then you can guess what I'm talking about. Is making sure that we have police formations in every state of Nigeria, so that the governor of a state can be truly the what do you call it, the chief security officer of the state. I was watching one video clip maybe about a year ago, when one police officer was saying something different from what Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu was saying in Lagos State. And you know, it was just so interesting to me, because amongst governors in Nigeria, you can't pack aside the governor of Lagos.
Absolutely. And
amongst governors of Lagos, you can't put aside a Babajide Sanwo-Olu, who is like a son to the leader of the party as at that time, who now happens to be the president of the Federal Republic right now. But the policeman said something completely different from what the governor said. That would happen because of the kind of a police system that we have. And I always refer to a situation when I think Andrew Cuomo was governor of New York, and Donald Trump was president of the United States of America, and there was something about COVID and security situation in New York, and the president said he wanted, and the governor told him, don't come.
Exactly.
I'll handle the situation. I cannot guarantee your safety if you come. And you know, as interesting, those are the words I like to use, as Donald Trump would be, he had no choice than to respect the position of the governor of the state. But what do we have here? The governors here and are just on their own, and the state commissioners of police are not necessarily responsible to them. they are responsible to that super lord, the President of the Federal Republic, through his IGP. So I am hoping that eventually the National Assembly will look into that. But within the confines of the powers that the IGP has, let him look at the people he trusts. He's been in the police for so long. Yeah. Let him look at the people that he knows can handle things properly, so that he doesn't have to be that, you know, there are ways you can even, the Yorubas will say that if they send you on an errand like a slave, you can deliver like a child, you know. So even if they call you the Super Corps, the Inspector General of Police of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, see how much of delegation that you can give to the state commissioners of police. Relate well with the governors. Let the governors have enough dignity in dealing with their respective commissioners of police. If the police is trained to be that civil, that, you know, again, I know somebody listening to me somewhere can say, hey, you want to put too much powers in the hands of governors. Yes, don't we have too much powers in the hands of the president right now? There will be a way where eventually we will still have the balancing of powers, because many more institutions would also arise that will be able to balance powers and curtail powers everywhere. We need a lot of institutional reforms. I know the question that you asked me is about the police, but the police is just one of several institutions. So we need several institutional reforms that will make those institutions and organizations more powerful than certain individuals, and then let powers devolve from the top, so that at the lower levels, we will have people checking those powers. See, in the Federal Republic of Nigeria right now, it's only SERAP that I see challenging. But I want to see a situation where the network of NGOs in Osun, NECNOS, will challenge the governor here. But rather, what do we have? They are also trying to see how to be close to the governor.
Quickly, let's move on. I know there are a couple of them, but I will just check out some of then probably some other time we will still keep talking about them. The next person I want us to look at is Rear Admiral Emmanuel Ikechukwu Ogala, who was okay now he's the new Chief of Naval Staff. He replaces Rear Admiral Awal Gambo, who was actually appointed by former President Muhammadu Buhari. He obtained the West Certificate school certificate from the NMS Zaria in 1987, where he graduated as the best boy in the sciences. NMS Zaria, that is one school I would have loved to go, but I think the first time I crossed and I saw what was happening there, I told my father, no.
You ran away?
I ain't going. Nigerian Military School Zaria. I'm so excited about that school because it's one of the plans I have for my boy. That look, I want
the place you ran away from?
Yeah, he might like it. Okay. He is a member of the 39 RC NDA, graduated with a BSc in mathematics, and was awarded Sword of Honor as the best naval cadet in his course.
What's happening there? Ebetokun graduated with a degree in mathematics.
And this other Chief of Naval Staff.
Well, let me give one out there. You are in the military or the police and you want to become something, go and read mathematics.
You might probably be there. Looking at this brilliant man, as we're reading out his profile here, sir. Okay. It seems Mr. President is really watching and bringing the right peg in a round hole now. But I want to...
in a round hole.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I want to look at the space at which oil theft, bunkering, all this on our waterways, the Navy has a lot of work to do. So that probably the likes of saying we are employing the likes of Tompolo to go and marshal our waterways when we have capable hands such as this. What can be done, if not totally stopped, at least curbed to a large extent? What does the Chief of Naval Staff need to do with his men? And what support does the federal government of Nigeria need to give such people?
I know you are the one asking questions, but I'm going to ask you a question too now. And I will have eventually to answer it because I know the style of you journalists. You say you have to ask me questions. I don't know if you've seen that clip of one room in Saudi Arabia. And I think is one of the princes that is in charge of that room, where everything about the oil being drilled, the legitimate bunkering, because bunkering is not stealing. The movement of the oil, it is the illegitimate one in Nigeria that everybody thinks bunkering is stealing. And everything is being studied in just one room. And from that room, they have sufficient information through artificial intelligence to know if 1 liter of crude oil has left the track that it should be and go into another track. Look, these things are possible. There is artificial intelligence has become so abundantly available and relatively cheap that there are a lot of things that we can do. What we have right now is insincerity. It is the same people that are stealing that are also in government. It's not about the Navy alone. It includes the politicians. It includes the other public servants. It includes the traditional rulers. It includes everybody. There are good and bad traditional rulers. There are good and bad citizens of Nigeria. So, and there is good and bad in every race. You must recognize that song of Stevie Wonder and McCartney. You know?
McCartney.
So there is good and bad in every people. What we can pray for is that there will be the good in those that are in government right now to use artificial intelligence to see how they can get things right. But somebody will also ask me, because as I'm speaking, then somebody would ask me, didn't we try to put those things, CCTV, on the streets of Abuja?
Billions of naira was expended to put all those things.
And those things were
not functioning.
No, they've been stolen. All of those parts have been stolen. And somebody will now say the Yoruba proverb that only loco aje, you know, that if your CCTV is like witchcraft, then thieves will show them that. But I need to remind you that everywhere else in the world, that also first occurred. By coincidence, I can't remember that particular year. I took some children of the Olive Branches schools on excursion to London, to the UK generally, and then we stayed in a place around King's Cross station. And by coincidence, we were going, because I would want to take them round virtually everywhere. So we were going home one night about 9 p.m. You know, once it was getting dark. In summer, it would get dark maybe about 8 o'clock, and then we'll be finding our way back home. Then we saw some people trying to, what do you call it? I've forgotten that language. When you damage government property.
Oh, okay. You damage
vandalism. They were vandalizing CCTV equipment somewhere around King's Cross station. And I said, oh, you mean even here?
It happens.
You know, but somehow, because there were so many cameras as they were doing the thing, the policemen swooped on them, you know. And that's why the Yorubas will say that Olopa UK, woman, you'll be your journey. You know, they swooped in on them, and some escaped. And I remember that the faces of some of them were shown on TV later. I also remember during the Arab Spring that people were looting everywhere in London. By coincidence, that was in February, but that was a time when we had some health situation in Nigeria. And I remember that schools were not in session. So I took some children who were also interested on excursion to the UK then. And I remember that there was a lot of looting, okay? But as the looting was going on, the CCTV was capturing, and they were trying to cover the screens of CCTV. All these were played on television. My children saw it. You know, when I say my children, my school children.
Yes.
Now, why am I referring to all of this? There will always be attacks on artificial intelligence equipment anywhere in the world. But you must be determined to put them in place. And so when you put them in place, because I know somebody will be saying, oh, you want to use artificial intelligence where the Tompolos of this world will not make it work, and Asari Dokubos and all the other people, be determined. By the time you are determined, then anyone, including the Tompolos and the Asari Dokubos and all the other peoples that we don't know, all the governments out of government, will recognize that the long arm of the law will catch up with them. But the sincerity of purpose will first have to come from government. Who told you that some of these people, non-state actors in quotes, are not acting for people that are using state powers and therefore will protect them, and therefore nothing happens to them? You know? I don't want to go back to the days when Baba Obasanjo will be begging Anade Dibu to let there be peace in Ibadan. So you understand what I mean? So if there's sincerity of purpose, that man in charge of the Navy right now can tap into artificial intelligence, either with making sure, I don't know what budget they have for the Navy right now. I don't know from where they can draw the budget right now, but if they cannot, another budget will be operational in another 6 months. Start to think of how you are going to deploy artificial intelligence to make sure that you have a good grasp of security. And that's not for the Navy alone, for the police, for the state security service that we decide to call Department of State Security here, because it's the constitutional the terminology State Security Service. You know, the military intelligence, everywhere. All of them tap into artificial intelligence. That is where the rest of the world is. And in the rest of the world too, there were attacks on them. But because government was determined, those things have come to stay there.
Wow. I want to thank you once again, Architect GOKE OMIGBODUN, for your time and for brilliant analysis every time I have the opportunity to sit with you like this. On behalf of the CEO, who's your dear friend, I want to say thank you for joining me once again on TV.
Although he's not an obedient like me.
The two of you know how you saw that. All right, it's been a pleasure being with you on Morning Spring this beautiful Wednesday morning, and I can assure you quite a whole lot of other programs have been lined up for your viewing pleasure right here. Stay with us. You can follow us on all our social media handles on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Western Spring Television. Tunde IDOWU is my name. Good morning.